A long time ago, living matter was recovered from an L6 classified event. They call the stuff Fuse. It's volatile, unpredictable, and when combined with other elements, shit gets really weird. It's what makes our weapon so interesting. Thing is, we're not the only ones who have it.
Oh, Fuse. Fuse. What happened to you, Fuse? Come on, man. You're better than this.
Maybe not.
Maybe not?
No, maybe this is that girl that you saw across the room at a party, and she seems cute and interesting, and then she gets closer, and you're like, oh, she's got a lazy eye, and really she's kind of generic, and then she opens her mouth, and she just says,
oh God, she's a Wookiee! Run, she's a Wookiee!
Yeah, I think that's what Fuse is.
Oh yeah, well, it showed a lot of this game. We're going to come back to why Fuse is so disappointing, but let's start with the easy part, which is that Fuse is the latest game by Insomniac, and Insomniac, I mean, I don't know how you feel about him, Jason, but I like him.
Whatever.
Well,
take him or leave him.
Ratchet and Clank, I liked.
Sure.
Resistance,
yeah, it's all right.
decent start, kind of went a little,
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. They usually are solid.
Resistance was great. It was the best game on the PS3 because for a while it was the only game on the PS3.
Well, that's very, very true. But you know what? No matter what you say about Insomniac, like they do tend to make games that have awesome, interesting weapons. Like they're not generally the company that gives you. I mean, they usually give you a shotgun and a machine gun, but they also give you like guns that shoot through walls and guns that shoot around corners and all kinds of crazy shit like that. Which is kind of the conception of Fuse.
Kinda, sorta, what they tried.
A little bit. Fuse is basically, the story of Fuse revolves around these 4 mercenary agents known as Overstrike 9, who these guys may possibly, just possibly, Jason, have the most video game names of all time.
Yes, they do.
Comprised of Dalton Brooks, the lantern-jawed, freshly or half-shaven white dude protagonist from every other goddamn video game ever made. Naya Devereaux, voiced by Jennifer Hale, or a.k.a. Lady Femshep. Isabel Sinclair, a.k.a. Izzy, and Jacob Kimball, who just, makes me think of Kindergarten Cop every time.
Yes,
I know
exactly.
we made that joke already, but shit, man. For the entire game, anytime anybody says his name, I was just like, who's your daddy and what does he do?
It's not a tumor. It's just a shitty game.
And basically the story involves these guys globe-trotting, trying to stop this. It was, you didn't even play this game all the way to the end, but this story becomes real stupid in a hurry.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming at all.
I mean, basically, they start out going into this experimental weapons facility where they all basically just steal these awesome prototype guns that are just like laying around, like in the display case, waiting for somebody to come in and purchase them. And then they kind of have this globetrotting adventure of trying to stop this organization that has taken this unstable element called Fuse and is planning to do nefarious, world-ending. Oh, it's so evil and shit, man. But what
You sound like Dennis Hopper. It's evil and shit, man.
I wish Dennis Hopper was in this game. I wish Dalton Brooks was voiced by Dennis Hopper. Oh. That would have made this game so much better. But basically, from that point, what you essentially have is a Gears of War clone, a third-person cover-based shooter that has some kind of interesting weapon mechanics, but not interesting enough to save it from just being kind of bleh.
So you had a theory about that, though.
Did I?
About how it started off.
Right.
Something interesting, and then it's like, no, we gotta, this is too unique. We need to water this down. We don't want to frighten anyone.
All right, yeah, let's not dance around this. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. And I'm not going to judge this game based on this, but like 2 years ago at E3, they showed a trailer for a game called Overstrike, which is what this eventually became. That trailer was full of interesting personality. It was like Dalton Brooks sitting in this room being debriefed by the shadowy tell us about the plans and the blah, blah, blah. And he's just sitting there like, hey, can I get a cup of coffee? I mean, like, just totally kind of Nathan Drake, glib, and he's describing his team. And he's like, Jacob Kimball, he's very, he's such a well-adjusted individual. And then they cut to Jacob Kimball, and he's like, just screaming and shooting guns at people and stuff. It was a very funny trailer that had a lot of personality to it.
Overstrike Agent, post-mission psych eval. Let's begin. State your name for the record, please.
Hey, can I get some coffee in here? Black, 2 sugars. Dalton Brooks, Overstrike Agent, Bravo 6 Tango. Clearance level 7. Headache level 9.
Mr. Brooks, how would you describe yourself?
Well, I like to think of myself as a people person.
And the characters themselves, like, who is it? Naya, the Asian woman in this game, like, she had, like, a beehive. And, like, Jacob Kimball was like
carrying around a hive of bees?
No, like the hairstyle.
Oh, that's not nearly as cool.
She had a bee gun, shot bees. Actually,
Awesome.
I've already seen that in a video game, but Jacob Kimball was like a skinny, scrawny, African-American dude who had glasses on. Like, all the characters had a lot of even Dalton Brooks seemed to be like almost more like a parody of a leading man than just like an actual, like, I'm the leader of this team, yada, yada, yada. But then it feels like this game just got focus tested until it was a bland, generic third-person shooter. And who knows? Maybe that was their whole thing. Maybe at the beginning they were just like, we're going to make this great trailer, and then we're going to use it to get the money to make a bland third-person shooter. But everybody has been very much just like, Jacob Kimball has turned from this scrawny dude with glasses into like this big, just black foil for the main character with crazy facial hair, and everybody's very much more CW sexy now, and they've got their cyber suits on. And I don't know, to me that old game kind of looked like a cyborg super spy, No One Lives Forever meets Ratchet and Clank sort of thing, which
don't you do that to me?
What?
Don't you play the No One Lives Forever card?
Don't invoke the name. Don't invoke the Nolf.
That just makes me angry. That makes me angry for what could have been.
Yeah. I don't know. And maybe it's just, like I said, maybe it's just like my own active imagination. But like in the 2011 PlayStation press conference, that was one of the things that really stood out to me. So I saw that and went, ooh, I want to know more about that. That was cool. So I kept holding out hope, and then I started seeing the gameplay videos for this and went, So let's talk about the good things about this game before I go all, bitcherson about it.
I didn't play it very much, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, you made the good choice this week, Jason. You just son of a bitch. But each one of these characters, from the beginning of midway through the first level onward through all 6 levels of the game, they have a weapon that is unique to their character. Dalton has a shield that he can pop up that could shoot bullets back at people. Naya has a gun that opens up black holes that people get sucked into. Jacob has a kind of a sniper crossbow that you can use to incinerate people. And Izzy has my favorite gun, which turns people into giant crystal rock lords, and then they explode into a bunch of crystals and hurt everybody around them. The problem is, it's not a problem. Those are all really fun weapons to use. They are really fun. The problem is, they run out of ammo pretty quickly, and they're the only fun guns to use. All the other guns in this game might as well have just been directly lifted from any fucking third-person video game that you've ever played in your life.
It's the Insomniac thing, their penchant for exotic weaponry that threw you off. They got your expectations going in the wrong direction.
Right, because each character is locked into this one weapon that they have that's specific to their character, and then you have a few slots where you can pick up either a pistol or a submachine gun, and then on your other main weapon you can have like the rifle that shoots 3 rounds, the fully automatic rifle, the shotgun, or the sniper rifle. Just very boilerplate, run-of-the-mill video game weapons. So when you were getting to use a fuse weapons, you're just, you're fucking taking shit down and shit blowing up, the black holes are opening up, people turning into crystal monsters. That was awesome. As soon as you were forced to switch back over to the other weapon, it was like, yeah.
It's pow, 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 pow.
Yeah. Which, to be honest, given Insomniac's track record over the years, is the most disappointing thing about this game. Ratchet & Clank games, they were just full of crazy guns that leveled up, and you could use them to, all these different weird effects that would do different things. You were encouraged to use all of them, whereas here you have one unique gun, and you level it up over the course of the game, but you do it very slowly. Like, every gun has an alt fire that, like, Naya's gun has an alt fire or whatever that turns her invisible so she can be stealthy. Dalton can drop shields. Jacob has this thing where he can chain stuff together. And those are interesting as well, but it takes like 2 or 3 levels of the game before you get to unlock those powers. And then later, way later in the game, like in the next to the last stage, I finally started unlocking this ability that gives all of the characters a meter that fills up that like lets you do, you've seen it in video games, Jason. I don't know what you would call it. Like, you build up your meter and then you cash it in, and for like 10 seconds you're invincible and you have unlimited ammo and everything is blowing up,
Like a special meter or something like that.
Right. But it takes so long to get, at least I couldn't find anybody to play this with online. I played like 2 games online with people because there was nobody online to play. I left my shit open the entire time.
Both of them were developers on the game.
I'll get back to that a little bit later. But all of these unlocks would have been great if they would have happened way sooner in the chain. Like, if they would have been the first thing that you unlocked was the alt fire, and the next thing you unlock is the over mode, and then like have them just get progressively more and more ridiculously powerful as you play the game, so that you feel like you're really getting, you're really encouraged to use these to just ridiculous effects on hundreds of dudes, because there are already so many enemies in this game. Like, the combat arenas just are filled with dudes. They just come pouring out of these doors, just like hundreds and hundreds of guys, and they are bullet sponges. And they bring out these robots that you just shoot. Like, you will empty all of the bullets out of your inventory and then go pick up more 2 or 3 times to get rid of one of these robots that pops out. And it becomes just a grind, because you can see the guy's health bar going down, but it's so slow that you're just like, at one point, most of the fuse weapons you don't have to reload. So Naya's and Izzy's guns are like machine guns, so you don't ever have to reload them. And I would just hold down the button and literally go through like 200 or 300 rounds of ammo into one boss, into one part of one stage of one boss, and then have to go look for more ammo.
Everyone's sitting there checking their watches and yawning while you're just firing and firing and firing and firing.
Yeah, which... the other thing about this game is that you have these unique bonuses that give you more experience points if you work together as a team. So if you shoot through Dalton's shield, he has an ability that makes all of your shots more powerful, which encourages you as a team to work together. Or if Izzy makes somebody into the crystal thing and then Jacob shoots him with a sniper rifle, you get like a special added bonus that gives you more experience points and makes that a more like area of effect thing, and it's great. The problem is that unless you're playing with other people, the AI in this game, oh my god, the AI in this game sucks. Like, everyone sucks. The bad guys suck. The good guys suck. There were times where I'm down and we're getting to character gets down like in Gears of War and they can crawl around, and if somebody doesn't revive me, the game is over. Like, if my health hits the bottom, the game is over. And I'll have teammates, they just run past you. I don't know over there. I don't know what's over there. I don't know. And they run the other way past you. I'm like, can you just bring me back to life? Just please, once. I'm
imagining one of them looking at you. It's like, come on, just a little bit further. You reach out a little bit further, and then they back up and they just give you the stare like, yeah, I see you laying there. And then they just walk on about their business.
It's as if all of my teammates were being controlled by Jason Murphy. It's crazy. They were all just like, ha ha, fuck you. I'm just going to stand here right beside you and not bring you back to life. It got to the point where I was mainly using the Izzy character because she could drop a healing beacon, and I could just drop that. And then if I got downed, I could crawl over to that beacon and it would bring me back to life, because I couldn't. The stupid AI wasn't smart enough to bring me back to life, so I just had to do it myself. It does have 4-player co-op, and if you could find 4 people to play with you, I would imagine, it seems like it could be pretty cool. I wouldn't know.
Suffering for everyone.
The only time that I ever got in a co-op game with somebody was I paused the game on the last boss fight and went outside to smoke a cigarette, and I came back inside and I heard all this explosions coming from TV, and I was like, what the fuck is going on over here? And somebody had jumped into my game, and I had just been AFK standing there while they'd been fighting the last boss for like 5 or 10 minutes while I was outside.
Yeah, that's when they said, that's when the guy playing said, man, the AI's crappy and the people I play with online are shitty too.
Yeah, and of course, nobody on my friends list is like, all right, bro, Fuse day 1, let's go. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
So what you end up with is a very middling game. There's also some stuff in here that's just downright head-scratching crazy. Like, there's a bunch of parts of this game where they're doing Nathan Drake-style Uncharted jumping around on the side, like climbing up stuff. But it's not fun. It's just a way to pad out a level. Like, it's not like it...
Right. You just like, well, that Uncharted game was good. Let's steal some stuff and just kind of put it in there.
Or they'll put you in these rooms that are just full of guys, and they'll say, "Oh, we should take out as many of these guys as stealthy as possible." So you'll switch over to Naya and use her cloaking ability, and you maybe kill one guy, maybe kill two guys. But if you get too far forward, like there's times where you're working to try to be stealthy, you get too far forward, and then your dumb AI team just comes running into the room, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's over!" And then they start opening fire. Doors open up, 100 guys come out, and you're like, I was fine, you guys. I was fine. But my favorite part, it's so terrible that it actually makes this game better. My favorite part of this entire game is I've never seen a stupider breach animation in a single video game, Jason.
I don't remember the breach animation.
No,
what was it?
You saw it when we took a look at this.
Oh,
Like,
right. They put the explosives on the wall and then just kind of turn their backs.
Right.
Like not moving away.
Yeah, they just turn around and they're like a foot and a half from this explosion's breaching through a wall. And it's just like, all right, whatever. I mean,
we were too close. We were too close.
I mean, you also have like there's vents in this game that you have to you Batman off the vent and you go through it. It didn't occur to me the first time I played the game, but like these vents are big enough that like you character can almost stand up while they're going through them. Like, you're not crawling through a vent Die Hard style. They're walking in a squat, and they still have like a foot and a half over their head.
Yeah. It's not a vent. It's just a really tiny hallway.
Which, all of this stuff, all of this ridiculous nonsense would have made sense if the game was more tongue-in-cheek about what it was doing. Because the characters are very flippant, but they're very flippant about grabbing some dude and then shoving a knife in their neck and then gouts of blood come out. And you're like, am I supposed to be laughing at this ultra-violence? Or I don't... Because none of these characters are really especially likable. It's also weird that they weave in backstory characters for Dalton Brooks and for Naya Devereaux to have in their campaign. Like Naya's, one of Naya's relatives factors into her storyline, and one of Dalton's exes factors into his storyline. But then Izzy and Jacob, nothing. No character building for them whatsoever. It was just like, the whole game comes off as
they were like, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's paying attention anyway, whatever.
Right. The whole game comes off as just like half done or worse yet, that kind of like game by committee feel where you're just like, well, there's nothing intrinsically broken about the game. Of course, I will say that the second time that I played through the game when I was playing it like for review, you remember when we were playing it on we were looking at it on our Let's Play, and the camera got caught on that one part?
Yeah, yeah.
That happened to me again.
Ugh.
And when it happened, I quit out of the game, and it turns out there wasn't a checkpoint that I could go back to. So I had to play back through most of the first level again, and then when I got there a third time, it happened a third time?
Go to hell, Fuse.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see many other like serious game-breaking bugs like that over the course of the game. But I did see, I mean, the textures in this game are really rough. It's not an especially pretty game. It's got some really rough stuff. I played on the 360s, some really rough stuff in the uniforms of the characters, some really weird stilted animation. Unfortunately, like at the end of the day, when I played through all this, I went and played the Echelon mode in the game, where it's just kind of like Horde mode from Gears of War. And by the time I got to playing that, you just get these rotating objectives in an open arena that, it'll be protect the fuse, or here's a supply drop, pick it up before the enemies get you, or here's a target, and like go blow up this robot. Once I got to the end of the game and I'd almost completely maxed out my character's skill tree, that was fun to play. And I could see playing it with 4 people because it wasn't dumb story and it wasn't any of this traversal. It was just like, use these weapons and here's a ton of ammo to use them with. And it was fun. Like, I had fun doing it. I actually went back and willingly played it a couple of times just because I was having fun with it. But that's kind of the high point of this game, and everything else is kind of meh.
It really seems to me like, I I don't know. I'd like to push for legislation where video games, before they're released, they have to go before a jury, some sort of tribunal, perhaps, and say, okay, you are applying for the name Fuse, all right? The jury has surveyed and tested your game and determined it to be too bland to deserve a name. Instead, it will be called Video Game 364892A. Then gavel next.
At least, I mean, maybe they could have even given it a more, like, it could have been called, like, Fuse Storm or something, like, just
Yes.
completely generic.
Maximum Fusage.
That's right. I would be more interested in playing a game called Maximum Fusage. Anywho, this is the very definition of a mediocre game. Like, it doesn't do anything that much different than any other game that's out there. It's competent. It's functional. At some points, it is fun. But I have to say that unless you have 4 other people that are willing to play this thing with you, it's not really worth getting on its own. Now, you know what? This is the first review we've ever done. So
It is.
We're going to let people know we're going to a straight up 5-star system, you guys. So
There it is.
We're going to dig
Simple,
around.
nothing clever.
Yeah. I mean, we'll give it a, what do you think? Half stars? Let's have half stars.
Let's have half stars, yes.
Yeah, half stars.
Get granular with it.
All right, this one, 3 stars, man. This is the very definition of a mediocre, middle of the road game.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, if you
Well, technically, the very definition is 2.5 stars.
don't you get all like that with me, Murphy?
It's mathematics, Jeff. I'm sorry.
I don't believe in math. God damn it!
Well, you heard him. Let's wrap it up.
Where are we supposed to go?
Bomb shelter with an open bar? How the hell should I know?